All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning, I'm Sunil Verma, and with me is Abhishek Mukhopadhyay. The headlines. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh reaches Tehran to discuss bilateral defence ties with his Iranian counterpart. Finance Ministry says there is no restriction or ban on filling up of central government posts. Railways to run 80 new passenger trains from 12th of this month. COVID recovery rate improves to 77.23%. And in US Open, Indo-Canadian pair of Rohan Bopanna and Denis Shapovalov reach men's doubles quarterfinals. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh arrived in Tehran last night, where he will meet his Iranian counterpart and discuss bilateral defence ties. Mr. Singh reached Tehran after Moscow after concluding his three-day visit to Russia, where he attended a meeting of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization SCO defence ministers. He also held bilateral talks with his counterparts from Russia, China and the Central Asian countries. In his address at the SCO meeting on Friday, Rajnath Singh had said that India is deeply concerned about the situation in the Persian Gulf and called upon the countries in the region to resolve their differences by dialogue based on mutual respect.
Chief of Defence Staff General Bipin Rawat said that India is fully committed to win its wars with the help of indigenous solutions. He said both the government and the armed forces have clearly demonstrated their resolve and commitment to Make in India Defence Initiative. Speaking in a virtual symposium organized by the Society for Aerospace, Maritime and Defence Studies yesterday, General Rawat said that maintaining security in the strategic space of the extended neighbourhood is equally important as safeguarding the frontiers at the international border, line of control or at the LAC. He said India values its emerging relationship with the US and cherishes its traditional relationship with Russia. General Rawat affirmed that the country shares a mature and robust defence and security framework with both these world powers. General Rawat said creation of the Department of Military Affairs in January this year highlights the forward-looking strategies of the government and will set in motion a dynamic transformation process in the defence sector.
The Finance Ministry has clarified that the Department of Expenditure circular on economic measures for further expenditure management deals only with internal procedure for creation of posts. It said the circular does not affect or curtail recruitment in any way. Finance Ministry has further stated that there is no restriction or ban on filling up of central government posts. It said normal recruitments through government agencies, including Staff Selection Commission, UPSC, Railway Recruitment Board, among others, will continue as usual without any curbs.
Andhra Pradesh topped the chart among all Indian states and union territories in the Business Reform Action Plan BRAP 2019 rankings. Uttar Pradesh and Telangana bagged second and third position respectively. The Commerce and Industry Ministry released the ranking of states and union territories UTs in terms of ease of doing business in a function attended by Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal and Urban Development Minister Hardeep Singh Puri. Speaking on the occasion, Mr. Goyal said that the centre is committed towards promoting cooperative and competitive federalism. He said India is among the top 10 performers in terms of improvement in ease of doing business parameters in the last 2 years. Himachal Pradesh has registered a quantum jump of 9 positions by securing 7th position. Expressing happiness over this remarkable achievement, Chief Minister Jairam Thakur said this became possible due to reforms brought by the state government.
Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has congratulated the investors, entrepreneurs and public for reaching second spot by gaining 10 places by the state in Ease of Doing Business ranking. He said that Uttar Pradesh is playing an important role in fulfilling Prime Minister Narendra Modi's goal of Atmanirbhar Bharat. We have more from our correspondent.
State government highlighted various reasons behind its marked improvement in the ranking and said that its performance indicates that entrepreneurs are receiving the benefits of reforms implemented by the Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath. The state government said that it has implemented 186 reforms suggested by the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade. Chief Minister said that successive implementation of the Nivesh Mitra, the dedicated single window system of the state, facilitating processing of applications by investors, has has been an instrumental medium in progress of the state on this front. Nivesh Mitra was launched during the UP Investors Summit in 2018. He said that this year's exercise was based on user feedback. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
80 new special passenger trains will be operational from the 12th of September. The Indian Railways has informed that passengers can start booking reservations in the new trains from the 10th of September. These trains will be in addition to the already operational 230 trains across the country. Railway Board Chairman Vinod Kumar Yadav said that the Railways is keeping a close watch over the demand and waiting lists in various areas of the country. He said more trains will be made operational in due course of time if needed. Mr. Yadav also informed that more trains will be run upon receiving special requests for exams and other purposes from state governments. The Union government has said that the COVID-19 recovery rate in the country has reached 77.23%. Around 70,000 people have recovered during the last 24 hours. The Health Ministry said the total number of recoveries has reached over 31 lakh. Currently, India's case fatality rate is at 1.73%, which is one of the lowest globally. In the last 24 hours, 86,432 new COVID-19 cases have been reported in the country. In the last 24 hours, 1,089 deaths have been reported, taking the toll to 69,561. According to Indian Council of Medical Research, more than 10,59,000 tests have been conducted during the last 24 hours. The total number of samples tested so far has reached over 4 crore 77 lakhs. The Health Ministry has said there has been a steep exponential rise in COVID-19 recoveries from 50,000 in May to 30 lakh in September. The daily number of recovered patients has crossed 70,000. More than 3/4 of the total cases have recovered. The ministry said responsive, collaborative and effective measures right from early detection, early identification through aggressive testing to efficient tracking and comprehensive treatment have collectively led to these encouraging outcomes.
The centre has exhorted the states of Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka to focus on undertaking aggressive measures to break the chain of transmission and to ensure that the mortality is kept below 1%. They have been advised to proactively ensure higher testing, effective clinical management to lower fatality and save lives along with efficient monitoring at various levels. Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka account for about 46% of the active cases and nearly 52% of the fatality cases reported nationally in the last 24 hours.
In Delhi, the recovery rate of COVID patients stands at 87.03%. The city recorded recovery of 1,920 patients in the last 24 hours, taking the total number of recovered patients till date to 1,63,785. With increased testing, the city has achieved the remarkable mark of conducting 91,814 corona tests per million of its population. A total of 2,973 new confirmed cases of coronavirus were reported in the national capital during the last 24 hours. With this, the total number of COVID cases in the city has reached 1,88,193. The Delhi government confirmed that 25 deaths have been reported in the last 24 hours, taking the total to 4,538. Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has said the recent surge in COVID-19 cases in the national capital is attributable to doubling of testing. He said that the situation in the city is completely under control and there is no need to panic. Addressing a virtual media briefing, Mr. Kejriwal said he is not worried about the data but concerned about keeping people healthy.
Maharashtra has reported its highest single-day spike of 20,801 coronavirus cases, taking the infection count to 8,83,862. The State Health Department has said that with 312 fatalities, the COVID-19 death toll went up to 26,276 in the state. Maharashtra reported a record number of cases on the fourth consecutive day yesterday. 10,801 people were discharged yesterday, taking the recoveries to 6,36,574. The state currently has 2,20,661 active cases. In Gujarat, 1,311 new cases of COVID-19 recorded during the last 24 hours. Our correspondent reports the recovery rate has further improved to 81.11%.
More than 27,08,000 tests have been carried out in the state till date. Out of 1,311 new cases, the maximum 185 new cases reported from Surat city. At present, 16,366 active cases, out of which 85 patients are on ventilator. 1,148 patients have been discharged from various hospitals after recovery. 16 patients have lost their lives yesterday. 258 parks and gardens of Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation reopened after remained closed for more than 5 months due to COVID-19 pandemic. Yogesh Pandya, AR News, Ahmedabad.
In Karnataka, 9,746 new COVID-19 positive cases were reported yesterday, thereby taking the tally to 3,89,232. 9,102 people recovered and were discharged from various hospitals. The recovery rate of the state is 72.78%. More from our correspondent.
Karnataka Deputy Chief Minister Dr. C.N. Aswathanarayana has said that more than 2 lakh students benefited from the Get Set online classes during the COVID-19 pandemic period. This helped coaching students appearing for the common entrance test for admission to professional courses. The minister said that 70,000 online classes were held and more than 12,000 lectures were uploaded to the YouTube. He also said that government has taken important measures to bring about a complete change in the arena of education in line with the new education policy announced by the central government. R. Murthy, AR News, Bengaluru.
In Bihar, COVID-19 recovery rate has improved to 88%, which is 11% more than the national average. 1,965 patients recovered in the last 24 hours. 1,28,376 patients have recovered so far. 16,734 patients undergoing treatment in various hospitals at present. The total number of testings has crossed 38,71,000 in the state.
Tamil Nadu Health Department has announced the package rates for the state government staff and pensioners to avail COVID-19 treatment in private hospitals. Its order says the beneficiaries can get themselves admitted in empaneled hospitals for the purpose. If they are allowed in unempaneled private hospitals, the insurance agency that administers the health insurance program will make the permissible amount only to the hospital as mentioned in the order. In another order, hotels and restaurants are permitted to run air conditioners subject to safety protocols. Meanwhile, the active case load in the state remains 51.6 thousand as said in the state government media bulletin issued last evening. The total recoveries have also gone up to 3,98,000 and total case fatalities to 7,748.
In Uttar Pradesh, a sharp increase has been witnessed in the spread of corona infection in the last 24 hours, with 6,692 people testing positive for COVID-19. Lucknow and Kanpur cities are still topping the chart with maximum number of active cases. A total of 81 COVID-19 deaths have been reported in the state yesterday, taking the toll to 3,843. More than 100 new cases were reported from almost 20 districts in the state, which includes Tier 2 cities like Saharanpur, Shahjahanpur, Pratapgarh, Rampur, Muradabad, Ayodhya, Barabanki, Aligarh and Jhansi.
In our series Experts Speak on All India Radio, we bring you views of leading medical experts on COVID-19. Talking to AIR News, Dr. Ambuj Roy from the Department of Cardiology of AIIMS advises elderly people and those suffering from other diseases like hypertension and cancer to take extra precautions to avoid the infection.
They have to be extra cautious. So the elderly, the people who already have heart disease, people who have had brain strokes, people who have lung disease, people who have some kind of cancer, or people who have low immunity, people with diabetes, hypertension, in general, people who are more than 65 years of age, they're much more prone to a more severe form of the disease if they get the disease.
Dr. Naresh Gupta of LNJP Hospital, Delhi, tells people to maintain hygiene and social distancing.
It's very important to maintain the social distancing and the isolation because there is no treatment for coronavirus. The only way we can control this disorder is prevention, and that is the reason social distancing is very important.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh reaches Tehran to discuss bilateral defence ties with his Iranian counterpart. Finance Ministry says there is no restriction or ban on filling up of central government posts. Railways to run 80 new passenger trains from the 12th of this month. COVID recovery rate improves to 77.23%. And in the US Open, Indo-Canadian pair of Rohan Bopanna and Denis Shapovalov reached the men's doubles quarterfinals. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
President Ram Nath Kovind and Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address the inaugural session of the Governors' Conference on National Education Policy through video conference tomorrow. The conference, titled Role of NEP 2020 in Transforming Higher Education, is being organized by the Ministry of Education. NEP 2020 is the first education policy of the 21st century, which was announced after 34 years of the previous National Policy on Education, 1986. NEP 2020 is directed towards major reforms in both school and higher education levels. The new national education policy strives for making India into an equitable and vibrant knowledge society. It envisions an India-centered education system that contributes directly to transforming India into a global superpower. The Governors' Conference is also being attended by education ministers of all states, vice-chancellors of state universities and other senior officials. The Bombay High Court has refused to stay examinations in physical mode of final year undergraduate medical students scheduled to begin in Maharashtra on Tuesday. A division bench of Justices A.A. Syed and S.B. Tawade was hearing a petition filed by 9 undergraduate medical students of various streams of the Maharashtra University of Health Science, MUHC. The petition challenged the circular issued on August 21st by MUHC pertaining to holding a physical mode of examination for final year students. The court said in its order that in its view the petitioners have approached the court at the 11th hour. Hence, the court is not inclined to grant any interim relief of staying the examination. The bench also referred to the order passed by the Supreme Court on August 17th, refusing to postpone the JEE Main and NEET exams and noting that though there is a pandemic situation, life has to go on and the career of students cannot be put in peril for long. The court posted the petition for further hearing on the 17th of this month.
Narcotics Control Bureau NCB has arrested Deepesh Sawant, a member of Sushant Singh Rajput's personal staff, in connection with the drugs probe linked to the actor's death. With this, the total number of people arrested in this case has risen to 6. The official said Deepesh Sawant, who was being questioned since Saturday morning, has been arrested under sections of the Narcotics, Drugs and Psychotropic Substances NDPS Act. A senior NCB officer had earlier said that Sawant's role was that of a witness in the case. The Federal Anti-Narcotics Agency had on Friday arrested Shovik Chakrabarti, the brother of main accused in this case, Riha Chakrabarti, and Samuel Miranda, Rajput's house manager. Various angles surrounding the death of the 34-year-old actor are being probed by 3 federal agencies, including the Enforcement Directorate ED and the CBI.
In Chhattisgarh, Maoists have released 16 abducted villagers in Bijapur district of Bastar division. Earlier, the rebels killed 4 villagers. Maoists had abducted these villagers from Metapal and Uznar villages 2 days ago.
Union Agriculture and Farmers Welfare Ministry has approved 4 crore rupees for upgradation of soil testing labs across the Kashmir Valley. Director Agriculture Kashmir Altaf Aizaz Andrabi said this while chairing a review meeting to take stock of various activities undertaken by the department at the grassroots level. He further said that for the quality control laboratory upgradation, 40 lakh rupees have been earmarked during the current year, which will facilitate upgradation and strengthening of fertilizer quality control lab. On the onset of the meeting, chief agriculture officers of all the districts gave a detailed description of all the activities being carried out by the department at the ground level.
Mahatma Gandhi is one of the most famous Pravasi Bharatiya who returned from South Africa in 1915. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi used to live in South Africa and fought against injustice and class division as a leader of the South African Indian community. He is looked up as a leader due to his involvement in the non-violent movement in South Africa. A report.
In a very famous movement in South Africa, Mahatma Gandhi fought against nullification of non-Christian marriages in 1913, which in one stroke had turned all Indian marriages in the country invalid. The women and children would have lost the right of inheritance and the right to enter South Africa. The government ignored repeated appeals from the community for legislation to remedy the situation. Talking about this movement, Gandhiji said they decided to offer stubborn satyagraha irrespective of the number of fighters. He invited women to come into line along with the men and join the protest. He gave them an idea of the risks and explained that they would have to put up with restraints in the matter of food, dress and personal movements. The women bravely joined him in the satyagraha. Suparna Saikia, AIR News, Delhi.
Ek Bharat Shrestha Bharat program has been organized throughout the country to showcase the rich culture and heritage, food habits, handicrafts and customs of the states and union territories. 2 different states have been paired to promote cultural exchanges also. Union territory of Puducherry is paired with Dadra and Nagar Haveli. Our correspondent has filed this report.
The Union Territory of Puducherry can be called as a role model for Ek Bharat Shrestha Bharat. It is in this tiny place, people speaking many languages and dialects are living in unison. Mansa from Silvassa, Dadar Nagar Haveli said that Puducherry is clean and people are very polite in nature.
This Ek Bharat Shrestha Bharat program taught me a lot of things about Pondicherry, like its culture, language, traditional games and sports. The city has many colonial buildings, church, temple, statue, which is one of the cleanest in India, and it also has been selected for Blue Flag certification. I'm from Silvassa, but I learned few words of Tamil. I'm happy to learn that language. I would like to thank NYK Silvassa and government. Thank you so much.
Ek Bharat Shrestha Bharat campaign helps to identify and highlights various cultures and traditions of the country. Chandramohan, AIR News, Puducherry.
In Madhya Pradesh, efforts will be made for better implementation of the new education policy announced by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan informed during the interaction with the teachers that preparations have also been made for the implementation of new education policy after extensive deliberations. Vocational education in the state will start from class 6. A report from our correspondent.
Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan said that legal provisions will be made to prevent exploitation of teachers and excess tuition fees charged by the private schools.
शिक्षकों का मान सम्मान सुनिश्चित करते हुए भावी पीढ़ी का भविष्य गढ़ने के काम में वो निश्चिंत होकर लग सकें, इस दिशा में काम करते हुए हम शिक्षा के क्षेत्र का नक्शा बदलेंगे.
A similar policy is being chalked out for starting new schools in Madhya Pradesh, so that there is at least one school between 10 to 12 villages and a bus facility will be available to reach the school. All schools in Madhya Pradesh will have skilled teachers to teach music, dance, yoga and Indian culture. Efforts are being made to make 100% placement of students. Sanjeev Sharma, AIR News, Bhopal.
Directorate General of Civil Aviation, DGCA, has ordered airlines to resume pre-flight alcohol tests for pilots and cabin crew members. The aviation regulator had on 29th of March this year suspended breath analyzer test for all aviation personnel due to the extraordinary circumstances posed by the COVID-19 pandemic. The breath analyzer tests will continue to remain suspended for aviation personnel other than pilots and cabin crew members. The DGCA said yesterday that in domestic flight operations, 10% of pilots and crew members should undergo pre-flight breath analyzer test per day. For all international operations, 100% pre-flight breath analyzer examination shall be carried out per day. The March 29th order had stated that every aviation personnel has to submit an undertaking that he or she is not under the influence of alcohol and that he or she has not consumed alcohol in the last 12 hours from the time of reporting for duty. In US Open Tennis, Indo-Canadian pair of Rohan Bopanna and Denis Shapovalov beat German pair Kevin Kravitz and Andreas Myers to reach men's doubles quarterfinals in New York. Bopanna is the lone surviving Indian in the tournament after the exits of Sumit Nagal and Divij Sharan. In women's singles, Serena Williams came back from a slow start to beat Sloane Stephens 2-6, 6-2, 6-2 in the US Open's third round. She will face number 15 Maria Sakkari of Greece in the fourth round.
Sports Ministry has extended the contract of 9 foreign coaches and support personnel, including a high-performance director of athletics, with an eye on the 2024 Olympics, Commonwealth Games and the Asian Games 2022. In July this year, Sports Ministry had decided to drop extended contracts for foreign and Indian coaches in sync with the Olympic cycle. This decision was taken by the ministry with a focus on the 2024 and 2028 Olympics. Also to ensure Olympic-bound athletes are able to train consistently and in continuity with one coach and improve their performance as per the international standards. Sports Minister Kiren Rijiju said this decision to extend the contract of the coaches will benefit our athletes as there will be continuation of the training with the same coach.
There is good news for the Brahmaputra river valley as researchers have found that the concentration of near-surface ozone in this region in the northeast is low compared to the other urban locations. Scientists at the Aryabhat Research Institute of Observational Sciences, ARIES, Nainital, which is an autonomous research institute under the Department of Science and Technology, have evaluated the near-surface ozone in the Brahmaputra river valley. It found relatively low concentration of ozone over Guwahati compared to other urban locations in the country. Their present work has been published recently in the journal Atmospheric Pollution Research.
A spell of moderate rains along with thunder showers drenched parts of Delhi and Uttar Pradesh yesterday, while Rajasthan, Punjab and Haryana witnessed light showers in some areas. Indian Meteorological Department has forecast light to moderate rain at a few places in Punjab, Haryana and Rajasthan in the next 24 hours and rainfall along with thunder shower for Uttar Pradesh for Tuesday. The IMD has forecast heavy to very heavy rainfall at isolated places over sub-Himalayan West Bengal and Sikkim today. It has also predicted heavy rainfall at isolated places of Uttarakhand, Odisha, Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Meghalaya, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Puducherry and Kerala today.
Now let us take a look at today's weather. The national capital Delhi is likely to witness a generally cloudy sky with light rain. The minimum temperature was 24 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be 35 degrees. In Mumbai, rain or thunder showers would occur towards evening or nights. The temperature is likely to hover between 25 degrees Celsius and 34 degrees Celsius. Chennai is likely to witness generally cloudy sky with light rain. The minimum was 26 degrees Celsius while the maximum temperature could reach 34 degrees Celsius. Kolkata may have a partly cloudy sky with one or two spells of rain or thunder showers. The minimum temperature was 28 degrees Celsius while the maximum is expected to have 35 degrees. On to the north, in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the minimum temperature was recorded at 26 degrees Celsius in Jammu, while the maximum will be around 33 degrees. The city will have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. In Srinagar, the temperature will hover between 17 degrees and 27 degrees Celsius. The city is likely to have partly cloudy sky. Ladakh will have partly cloudy sky. The temperature may hover around 16 and 28 degrees Celsius. In Gilgit, the minimum temperature was 14 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be 28 degrees Celsius. The city will have a mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Muzaffarabad is also likely to have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. The minimum temperature was 19 degrees Celsius and the maximum is expected to be 29 degrees Celsius.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. Hindustan Times and the Sunday Pioneer lead with almost identical headlines of Rajnath Singh's warning to China to not try to alter LAC and the status quo. India insists on full pullback, warns against further action. China points to lost territory, headlines the Sunday Express. Dialogue key to peace, Rajnath tells way. MEA level meet next, writes the Sunday Tribune. Financial Express has quoted President of the Society of Indian Automobile Manufacturers as saying that India can attract auto companies moving out of China. ICMR paves the way for walk-in tests, reads the headline in Hindustan Times. ICMR allows testing on demand for COVID without prescription, writes Sunday Pioneer. Now malaria, dengue threat in COVID outbreak, reports Hindustan Times. The Sunday Tribune, the Asian Age and the Sunday Pioneer have reported on the front pages that 80 new special passenger trains are to run from September 12th. And finally, Sunday Express reports that India has in its possession documents from Pakistan that show Hizbul chief as a government official working with ISI.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh reaches Tehran to discuss bilateral defence ties with his Iranian counterpart. Finance Ministry says there is no restriction or ban on filling up of central government posts. Railways to run 80 new passenger trains from the 12th of this month. COVID recovery rate improves to 77.23%. And in US Open, Indo-Canadian pair of Rohan Bopanna and Denis Shapovalov reach men's doubles quarterfinals. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website, newsonair.com and News on AIR app. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.